Hi, I'm Saroj Patel and I'm going to be mixing it up with you today. So I've got a little pot here with some questions. I'll just pick a question. Do you have a favourite material or tool that you go to in the studio and why? So I think my favourite material is a needle and thread. I always have a needle and thread wherever I go. I find that it's really great for me to put things together, to tie objects together, to find any bits of fabric and make little sculptures, or even stitch things together to make my own little drawings. And that's probably at the moment my favorite tool. I can't think of anything else as much as the next other favorite tool is just pencil and sketchbook, really, just to sketch out any ideas I have. But yeah, needle and thread. Let's see the next question. Can you describe the first piece of artwork you remember making? So the one I remember making was I think it was when I was in high school. I made these little panels, and the panels had were little covered with loads of little beads, like rice, lentils, and I painted them. And they were three intricate panels that were together. And my mum, I remember my mum kept holding them because I forgot I'd made these at high school, and they were in a box somewhere. And my mum must have found them later, and she's put them up in her kitchen. But yeah, what's interesting is about that is, back then I was doing all this little intricate work, and there were these beautiful patterns. And then I moved on to painting. So I was painting for years, all still painting with detail and intricacy. But then when I moved into sculpture, I've come back using the beads and all the little details and textures. So yeah, that's interesting for me. What is your best experience in the art world to date? So I think I've got two experiences. The first experience was when I was painting, and I created this event in a gallery in Dalston where people could come along and paint murals alongside other artists who painted murals. And it was in this huge space. It was in a disused building which they'd given to some people to hold a gallery and an art space and a community space. And it was absolutely incredible because I think I had about 50 to 100 people turn up throughout the day, and people were just being really immersed in the painting their own, literally you could just do whatever you wanted. So people were immersed painting their own little designs on the themes of nature, and also painting alongside the artist that I'd asked her to come along as well. And I just remember just being really exciting, meeting so many people and just seeing all the different things that people created. And when it was finished, the whole space was just covered in one collaborative piece of artwork all around the room. And it was really, really amazing to kind of feel like I had just had an idea, and then got some people to help me put it together, and created this event where people could come along and paint on walls, which was really fun. And then I think the other experience I really enjoyed is actually the making of my installation Observation Realities at Clifford Chance, and making the two sculptures there. I think it was making that piece of work went over quite a long period of time, because I just had twins prior to making that installation, and I started making the work at 8 months, when the twins were 8 months. And I think it took me from about 6-7 months to make the work, and that's quite a long time for me, because normally I'm quite used to just before having twins just being in the studio and working long crazy hours to get a piece of work finished. But I didn't have the freedom to be able to, well, the time really, to be able to just work any hours I wanted. I had pockets of time here and there, and then just before the installation, I had like a few weeks to work on it fully. But what I loved about that piece was that I really spent time thinking about the work, making the work, and having that long time to make the work changed and the ideas developed in a really beautiful and interesting way from my initial idea. And it was an interesting way for me to work, because sometimes I have an idea and I'll sketch it out and then I'll just focus and make it. But with this, the idea completely changed as I was making it, because new ideas started to emerge, and I was just getting really excited about that. And being able to like really bring the idea in, and like really think about why I'm making the work and what the work is trying to say, was really important. And just having that extra time was allowed me to do that. So I think I really enjoyed making that work. Yeah, and it was really colourful and lots of different materials and lots of textures and details. Yeah, so that was, I'd say, one of the best experiences I've had. What do you do outside of your artist practice? So like I just mentioned, I'm a mum of twins who are 2. So at the moment, you know, a lot of my time is spent with them. I'm in the studio like 3 days a week, and I work evenings if I can, and outside of that, I'm like going to the park, I'm going to like playgrounds, I'm like seeing other people, other mums with kids, like just hanging out like on the street. My street's really amazing because I live on this cul-de-sac, so I get to just like be outside with the girls, and we do a lot of creative things, you know, getting big chalk and drawing on the walls, on the floor, on our street, and that's I probably do, yeah, spend my time out at the moment outside of my art practice, hanging out with them. What inspires you and your practice? Well, that's like quite a big question. I think I get inspiration from so many things. I think originally what inspired me was, what inspired me actually to be an artist was probably like the stories I grew up on, because I grew up on like Hindu mythology, and all the imagery was really beautiful and interesting and really crazy. Like you have all these like half animal, half human creatures, hybrid creatures, you know, humans turning into birds, and it was just really amazing. And I think that really shaped my creativity, my connection to nature, and probably me wanting to be an artist and starting to draw and paint. And then I feel like all the kind of all the details in, like, you know, the textiles in Indian culture, I've been fascinated by the colour, the detail, the beads, the bells, like all these different like the mirror work, all this embroidery work. I think it's all the detail and the care that goes into it, and then you can wear all this stuff. I just love it, and I think that inspired me to probably work with textiles and fabric and beads and everything that I do. And then, you know, there's like artists like Louise Bourgeois, Sheila Hicks, Joan Jonas. These are just some of the artists which, you know, I've been to some of their like big installations, and I've always been inspired by big installations, I think. Probably when I remember, one of the things I remember is going to the Turbine Hall when I think I was like 16 or something. I remember going with my parents. We'd all come to London as a little trip, and we went and we saw the Crack, and I just was like, this was amazing. I just loved how something on that scale can really just have such an impact on somebody, and really just question, like, how is this done? Why have they done this? And it's huge installations which have inspired me to kind of make work, and that's the direction I want to go in, is making like bigger pieces, more immersive installations, and so a lot of artists inspire me, a lot of artworks that I see inspire me. I loved going to the ceramics exhibition at the Hayward Gallery, which is amazing. Again, materials that people, like, artists work with, inspire me. Techniques, like how they've done things, stories that they've tried to tell. I think stories inspire me, and like just everyday, like conversations with people, conversations with other artists, conversations with curators that are from my friends. Just, I think being able to make something, I get inspired by just like the process of like creating, and that inspires me just to like make more, but probably because I just enjoy it so much. So yeah, they're all the questions that I've picked out, and hope you've enjoyed listening to my video. Bye.